Hey, what's poppin' guys, Sizzyl here, and today we're taking a look at a game that came out of nowhere and was a top 10 Steam chart game for about 2 to 3 months, which is called, of course, The Finals. For a quick summary of what this game actually is, it's literally just every esports FPS kind of combined into one. You have basic shooting, like in Call of Duty, where when you point at somebody and you shoot, the bullets go where you're pointing, right? There's no recoil, there's no sway, there's no like crazy projectiles or anything. It's a very simple, you point at them, you shoot, and the bullet goes there, right? Really straightforward, really solid, honestly can't complain about that. You also get gadgets, which are things like grenades and jump pads and stuff like that, which kind of assist you in your journey to go shoot other people. And then there's simple movement, like in pretty much every other FPS game, where you can sprint, you can slide, you have bounce pads to jump up on, and you can also grapple around in some grappling hooks, which, you know, while very simple, is also simply a lot of fun. And just like most modern esports titles, you also have multiple classes, but instead of having like 500 characters who are all a little bit different, there's just 3 subclasses. You have light, medium, and heavy, and all the weapons and gadgets are kind of divided between them. The light class, as some of you probably expected, is lighter, and therefore it can run faster, has less health, and has a smaller hitbox. He also has a lot of the weapons and gadgets that are, you know, a lot more focused on that ADHD gameplay that high level, you know, gamers like to do. The things where you have to have really fast reflexes and kind of aim really quick and move really quick and just do a lot of things very fast. The medium class is a nice balanced middle class, which has average health, average movement speed, an average hitbox, and just kind of average weapons like your standard ARs. And he also has a lot of the support gadgets. So he has like a healing beam, you know, bounce pads, and a few other things. And then there's the heavy, who has the most health, the biggest size, and most of the kind of slower startup weapons, like machine guns, you know, a giant hammer, and kind of things like that. And a lot of the gadgets he have are more kind of destructive, right? They're used to break parts of the map, which is actually probably the funniest part of this game. The map is completely destroyable. You can use rocket launchers, grenades, hammers, whatever to break walls, roofs, ceilings, and just kind of change the map as the game goes on. And it does actually lead to some pretty dynamic gameplay. Or for example, if one of the objectives is up on a roof and you want to go play by the floor because, you know, your team's better at doing that, you can literally break the floors and bring the objective down to the bottom floor to go defend it there. It's also just really fun breaking parts of the map in the first place, and overall it's definitely the mechanic that makes this game stand out the most, which is further emphasized by the fact that all the levels are very forgettable. There's really zero, you know, crazy level design. You know, I can't be like, oh, this is map 1, this is map 2. Like, if you're looking at the footage on screen right now, I've probably shown footage from about 4 different maps, and you wouldn't be able to tell because every map is the same thing. You know, you got some trees here and there. You have like a few, you know, yellow kind of play areas up in the sky sometimes. And otherwise, you just have like a street with a bunch of buildings on it, right? Nothing ever really stands out in this game. There's no unique levels. There's no, you know, unique character design or anything like that. It's all extremely forgettable, but honestly, it doesn't matter that much because you're just going to break it anyway. And then, you know, the thing that ties it all together, of course, are the game modes, and all the game modes are just centered around kills only, right? The game modes are all pretty much a rework of the common game, you know, played by kids called Kill the Carrier, where basically one guy is your target, and everybody's goal is to kind of kill that one guy and take the loot that he has, or in this case, the money that he has, because the whole game is based on, you know, looting the most money and depositing it at these safes, which take a while to deposit at, and that's kind of how literally all 4 of the different game modes work. The only real variety in those game modes is how many deposit places there are, how fast the deposits work, and if there's a tournament type of round or not. So overall, I mean, that's all the game's mechanics, and you're probably now wondering, you know, what's the price of the game? How does it all tie together? And it's actually a free game, just like pretty much every other esport nowadays. You know, stuff like Fortnite is free, of course. You know, Counter-Strike also free game, Valorant also free game. Right, it's free just like all those games, and also just like all those games, it's monetized through both a battle pass and paid cosmetics. There are ways to get like free cosmetics, and all the weapon unlocks in the game are actually done purely by playing, which I'm actually a really big fan of, but If you want to get any crazier character design, it is pretty much all tied to spending money on either the battle pass or just the general store, which is kind of whatever. It's a pretty fair way to monetize most games. That being said, something I really didn't like about this game is that at the start of every match, there is a company logo and name like dead center of your screen, and I was like, oh, it's just like a fake company because, you know, the whole game is in like a simulated little battle arena, except no, this game was actually made in South Korea, which for those of you who didn't know is kind of like the capital of esports, because they view esports as an actual sport and give it like real government funding. It's like viewed as an actual sport in schools and stuff, and therefore it's a lot more normal in their society to kind of be accepting of esports. And as such, those are real South Korean companies at the start of every single game, and also probably why none of my American or European friends had ever heard of this game, because it probably blew up mainly in that South Korean gamer space. Overall though, that's all the actual mechanics and, you know, things around this game, and it was a pretty bland experience. I will say it's designed from the ground up, and a lot of the things work together well to form a good esports experience. So if you like the common esports environment, you know, you really like, I don't know, consistently working on your aim and getting better and playing against really sweaty people, this game is going to be great for you. I would say it's a 5 out of 5, and I would say just go play it. It's free, you know? But if you're pretty much anyone else and you just want to play games to have fun, you know, play games to have fun with friends, this game was built from the ground up to just be, you know, a game focused on aiming and focused on shooting and focused on, you know, a bit of team play, kind of like walking at people together, you know, gunning them down together, using stuff like jump pads to kind of jump on them together, and just use a lot of like raw communication to kind of beat out the enemy teams. When I was playing this game with the people I played it with, who generally are really low ranked in a lot of other video games and, you know, just try to have a fun, chill time and, you know, just kind of shoot the shit, talk about random stuff, you know, talk about how the weather was while you're just playing the game and having fun, we were not able to do that. This game required like full undivided attention, and if we wanted to have any fun with it or any success, we literally spent every game like strategizing. You're saying like, oh, there's 3 on the left, there's an objective on the right here, we should go forward, we should go back, we should go up, we should go down, we jump up here with me or whatever. There was zero downtime to say anything else, because if you don't hard communicate in an esports based game, you're just not only gonna lose, but lose in a pretty drastic way, and that was also true for the finals. So on the whole, I mean, that's pretty much my thoughts on it. I think it's a pretty bland combination of all the different esports around. It has no real visual style, you know, nothing really visually nice to look at. Not awful, but, you know, nothing visually distinct. You're not looking at like a Team Fortress 2 or an Overwatch or Borderlands or something really cool that is just pleasant to look at. You're looking at like the most standard, you know, boring, bland FPS out there. And if you love esports, I mean, this game is great for esports players. It incentivizes an extremely competitive, you know, high-octane gamer environment, but that's just not fun for me and for most of the people I know. And as such, I think if you're an esports player, this is a 5 out of 5 game for you. But for pretty much everyone else, I'm gonna have to rate this game a 2 out of 5.